Good evening and welcome to the town board meeting for May 19th, 2026. If we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Kopstein, could you lead us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And if we could all remain standing for a moment of silence as we remember those killed in San Diego, the 3 shot at the mosque, where we should have no tolerance for hate of religion or of any type. And also, as we are in between Law Enforcement Memorial Day and Memorial Day, let's remember all of those who have died defending our country and our communities and paid the ultimate sacrifice for our way of life. Thank you. Introductions to my right.
Good evening, Diana Quast, Town Clerk.
Patrick Murphy, Town Councilman.
Supervisor Ed Lachterman.
Deputy Supervisor Sergio Esposito.
Councilwoman Susan Siegel.
Ilan Gilbert, Councilman.
And Ruben, you want to introduce yourself there?
Foreman covering for Adam Rodriguez, Town Attorney.
Great, thank you. All right. For my report to the town, I unfortunately left my paperwork upstairs, but I do know I want to speak about, we have the special meeting next Thursday at 6:30 at the library, and that will be for the EMS services and where we think we are going to need to go in the future as the whole playing field is changing across Westchester and other communities that have volunteer EMS service. We are down in the amount of volunteers and the expenses are doing nothing but going up, so we really need to look at that. We also have 3 Memorial Day celebrations coming through on Memorial Day at 9 a.m. on the west side of Lakeland High School, the east side of Lakeland High School. There is a Vietnam memorial that was actually put in place by Tom Diana's class back in the 70s, and that we do a remembrance there that he started a few years back. That immediately following that at 10 a.m., right down the street at the World War II Memorial in between the library and the Lakeland Central School District office, there is another memorial specifically for those who had fallen in World War II. And you will see, or fought in World War II, not all fallen, I'm sorry. But you will also see on that monument that commemorates that at least 3 or 4 Dianas that fought for our country in Tommy's family. And then at 11 a.m., we have the Memorial Day Parade, which starts off with a ceremony at the Veteran Memorials Circle, right behind Town Hall over here near the skate park. And then we march over to the VFW and American Legion Hall on Veterans Road. Always a great way to celebrate our country and remember those who have once again paid the ultimate sacrifice for our freedoms. In Memorial Day, just so you know, if you're interested in flag etiquette for the day, you at sunrise lower your flag to half staff, but at noon your flag is brought up to full staff after the memorial part of the day, and then it's more of a reflection on the service of all of our wars and battles and how we have become a country, and once again celebrating our country after that. I will leave it at that, and I'll go to Lonnie.
I just look forward to celebrating this Memorial Day as I do every year, and I always remind myself. My dad was Thank God made it home, and otherwise I wouldn't be here. But I always think of what he said to me when I was always puzzled. There were times when I was puzzled when he didn't partake in some of the ceremonies. And that's all well and good because when I finally inquired, he said, "Lanny, to me, every day is Memorial Day." And I think of my brothers who fell every day. They're always with me. So I think that's a lesson we all need to learn as well. It's a solemn weekend. It's a barbecue weekend for many, but let's remember why we celebrate the holiday.
Amen. I did remember one of the things I wanted to bring to the town. On Wednesday of next week, the DEC will actually be here. I know we've been talking about them coming in to flag wetlands for the possibility of the Halleck's Mills sewer, and they are scheduled to meet with our engineering department on Wednesday and do their walk through the area and go over some of the flagging.
That's this Wednesday or next Wednesday?
I believe it's next Wednesday, right after Memorial Day. Susan?
Okay. Thank you, Ed, for reminding people about the emergency medical services meeting on next Thursday. This meeting is open to the public. I think one of the key issues will be the need for a local study, a joint study between Cortland and Yorktown to how we can provide supplemental funding to our volunteer ambulance corps. And this is the issue the state is doing. The state has mandated that counties do studies to coordinate their EMS services, but that will not provide any funding support for the local volunteer ambulance corps. And as Ed mentioned, both of them, especially Mohegan, is suffering because of a shortage of volunteers, which means more paid staff, which means more of a revenue burden. I do have a question that was raised to me about the town website, and I don't know if there's a policy as to whether private businesses can advertise on the homepage of the town's website. I bring this up because recently there was a grand opening for a real estate development in Yorktown, and that was on the homepage. And to my knowledge, it's the first time I have ever seen anything like that, and so I wonder if there is a policy, and if so, what it is.
Was it an advertisement or a press release?
It was, whether it was a press release is an advertisement, it was for Yorktown Farms and for their grand opening celebration. And this is actually promoting a specific private real estate development. And again, I can't remember it ever being done in Yorktown, so I don't know if there's a policy, and if so,
Well, a press release went out, and we have someone new who's handling the website. She thought she was supposed to put the press release up. It actually caused a little bit of concern, and it was pulled down because that was an invitation-only event, and it was advertised where people were like, "Oh, we could all go." And they were extremely worried about that because they only put out 200 invitations. But it is news that's happening within our town, so that's why a press release had gone out, and not considered an advertisement by my stretch. But I'll make sure that there's a little clearer avenue on that. But when we do a grand opening and we go there and we cut ribbons, that all goes on our website. It could look like an advertisement, but it's a celebration of the businesses within our town.
Do we always have news releases if private businesses, ABC shop opened up? I didn't realize that we would put their press releases about their opening on the town website. If something is approved by the planning board, by the town board, then I can understand that the town has recently approved the ABC development, whatever it is. That's a town function.
Well, in June, you'll be invited to a groundbreaking at AMS, which is going to be on our website. But these are all things that are noteworthy that we're letting our townspeople know about. It's transparency in government.
All right. I have a few meetings back, I raised the issue of how our $3.7 million of ARPA money, that's the COVID money from 2021, I asked how we spent it. The town controller sent me a report, and I did an analysis of it. Just to speed things up, I will reserve this to the end of the meeting to old and new business, and I will give the community a breakdown what it is. One other thing I forgot to say, it's almost 8 o'clock. For anyone watching at home who hasn't voted in the school board elections, shut your TV, put it on a tape the rest of the meeting. You can watch it some other time. It's
DVR.
most important to DVR and go vote. The polls are open until 9 o'clock. French Hill for the Yorktown School District, Van Cortlandt for the Lakeland District. Voting in the school board elections, whether you have children or not, is very important. So I urge you, you have an hour, get out and vote. And then under old business, I will bring up several other issues. So please stay after we do the resolutions.
I'm going to go vote, Susan, so I won't be here for that.
I did it early this morning.
I did mine also, but I'm still going to leave and vote.
You can't vote twice.
I know, Susan.
That's it.
Thank you. Serge?
Well, it's been a very busy week. There have been a lot of things going on. I know that the Yorktown High School girls lacrosse team had senior night the other night. They versed the Pelham Pelicans. I love that. And I got to tell you, they came back. They were losing. They came back and really had a outstanding win, decisive win. So I want to congratulate the seniors. I believe there was only one, but I want to congratulate all the seniors in the Lakeland Central School District and the Yorktown Central School District. Lakeland High School and Yorktown High School and Walter Panis as well. Congratulations. I know all the senior nights for all the sports are coming to an end now, and it's truly a transition into a different era for these kids, and they don't even know what they're getting themselves into. But off to college they go, and I wish them all the very best of luck, sincerely. It was National Police Week, and I want to thank my fellow peace officers and all police officers for the hard work that they do, their dedication to our community and across Westchester County, New York, and across the U.S. They are truly our guardian angels, and they deserve every bit of respect and admiration that we could give them. I did go to the SPCA event at FDR. I got some really cool pictures. So many cute dogs. It was a massive event. It happens every year, and I'm glad I made it. Cindy, thank you for texting me and saying, get up, get out there. So I did. And so it was really great. I hope a lot of pets found homes because it is sad, and they really do depend on our good nature and kindness for their survival. And like I said, it was a great event. Fam Jam has been rescheduled. Pat, were you going to talk about that?
Yeah.
Pat's going to talk about Fam Jam being rescheduled. I did attend several events. I attended an event in Mount Kisco, Search for Change. It was a recognition breakfast. They're a great organization. Look them up. They do a lot of good for our community and every communities across Westchester. And I was also able to attend the Putnam Northern Westchester Women's Resource Center Gala. They really speak out against domestic violence, and we should all be doing the same. What a great organization, doing just amazing things, and the room was packed. I was honored to be there among such great people doing great things. Couple of last things. Baby Olivia has graced my presence, but that's my great niece. And she is adorable, and I want to say congratulations to my niece and my nephew, Christina and Zach. What a beautiful little child, and it was quite a Mother's Day for them, and just holding this little itty bitty teeny weeny thing was just simply amazing. As far as laws and stuff like that in the town, the TCO law was passed last week, and I'm happy to say that. What we need to do is we need to have a discussion on the master fee schedule for the TCO fees. I have some suggestions that I'll be bringing to us for an open and transparent discussion, so this way we can figure out what we want to do in terms of the fees and stuff. And Alana, you had a concern about the homes, and I think what we could do is we could make, for a single family home, we can make those fees extremely reasonable and, non-burdensome. So that's something that we'll be talking about. I know that was something you wanted to talk. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the Knox box law. And that's basically what a Knox box is where the keys are kept for the buildings by the fire department. So this way, when they respond to an emergency, they have the keys and they're able to get in, and it facilitates access and a quicker response, saving lives. And I still I've been working with Adam on some minor revisions on the outdoor dining law, and I will be bringing them to this board's attention and the town at large probably next week on our next meeting. And that's all I have. Thank you guys for being here. The weather has finally changed. Who's already complaining that it's too hot? Me. Look. So thank you very much.
I will say I was very proud of Bentley, my lab, who made it pretty much an hour at the SPCA walk before he got a little too overwhelmed by the other dogs. But
So cute.
but my puppy Hallie was like right at home seeing all the people that worked with her.
Now I heard a rumor. I don't know if it's true. Did you adopt another dog?
We did not.
Oh.
Carol was
I heard you got in trouble. That's the rumor. I
Carol
heard.
was thinking of the Beagles, but I think Lisa LaRocca talked her out of it.
He's great.
So yeah, no, but it's always a great event up there, and you could go down, you could visit the pets. Last time we did that, we ended up walking out with one, so it's a great. They do a great job.
So being last, yeah, pretty much everything gets covered. Lanny, I greatly appreciate you acknowledging the vets for Memorial Day. You did a great job. And like Susan said, you have another hour to get out there and vote for the school budget. So get out there if you can. But Fam Jam was supposed to be in May. It got rained out. It's been rescheduled for June 20th. It's going from the 6th grade school back to Commerce Street over by Railroad Park, and that's going to be from 12 to 8. And if it rains on that date, then I don't think it's going to go off. But it's hopefully, keep our fingers crossed, it's going to be a beautiful day. It's Father's Day weekend. So
And the move is to accommodate early voting for the
Yes.
primaries. Just
Yes.
we want to make sure that there's no
plenty of parking in,
Yep.
at the 6th grade school. Or,
yes
Sixth grade school?
yeah,
yes, a
that's-
6th grade school.
Sorry. So, and then I see Kathy out there. Kathy, keep the board going at the library. And just go out to the library website and look at all the programming. They have programming from infants to seniors. So it's a great treasure of information. And, please get out there and check out the website and see what programs are, that's available for you. And that's about it.
Great. Thanks so much. All right, we have a couple of presentations today. Well, actually, one presentation, sorry. Brittany, Cheryl, you guys want to come on up?
I was going to mention that they had a wonderful event the other night and the other afternoon, but I figured since we're discussing it now, this is their opportunity to shine.
Hey guys,
How are you?
good to see you guys.
Thanks for having us. So good evening, everyone. My name is Cheryl Sanchez, a local resident here in Yorktown for over 20 years now. I can't believe how time flies. This is the 5th year now of our advocacy efforts, and we really appreciate the continued support, especially from our local town board, so that we can proclaim May Lupus Awareness Month in our hometown.
Hi, I'm Brittany. In 2020, I was diagnosed with lupus, an autoimmune disease that has no cure. An autoimmune disease means that your immune system that is made to protect you against sickness gets confused and attacks your own body instead. In lupus, it can attack any organ system and can affect each person differently. This makes it hard to diagnose and often difficult to treat. May is Lupus Awareness Month, so every year we try to bring attention to this complex disease. In addition, May is also the recognized month for mental health, anxiety, arthritis, fibromyalgia, hypermobility, and more. Many of these and other chronic conditions are commonly referred to as invisible illnesses.
So people with an invisible illness have symptoms that come and go or are not plainly seen like many others. So for example, Brittany looks mostly the same now as she did before her diagnosis. So nobody can see her joint pain, her weakness, her fatigue, the brain fog, all of the things that come and go in varying severity that make things more difficult for her. And she may look perfectly healthy, but she needs mobility aids often, such as a wheelchair or a walker for any extended amounts of activity. And I bring this up to say this is why it is so important to remember to always be compassionate to your neighbor, because you can never know what somebody is going through.
Proclamations such as these in local communities are so important so we can educate people about this specific lifelong disease that has no cure, to bring resources and support to those living with it. But not only for specifically lupus, a lot of these resources, including programs such as Social Security, Disability, Medicaid, and local support services, are essential to helping all of those with visible and invisible disabilities. So thank you again for your support. And for more information or to donate to our lupus fundraiser, please visit lupusawareness.com.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I have a couple of questions, and shame on me for not sitting and doing the research, but I know you lived through all of this. So over the last couple of years, there have been some amazing breakthroughs in some areas, and also some autoimmune issues. Has there been anything on the lupus front that has been exciting that you could help share with us?
Yeah, so when I was first diagnosed, there was only one actual FDA-approved medication for lupus. That's the one that I'm on. A few more have been in clinical trials, and they've been trying some other medications that are normally branded for maybe things like rheumatoid arthritis, and then trying them for lupus. But those things take a long time and a lot of money, so that's why we've fundraised for research. But they did make a big breakthrough for something called CAR T cell therapy, which is actually something we use for people with leukemia, but it's a very, very intense treatment that they would only reserve if, like, you have really bad organ damage in lupus. But there's a clinical trial right now going on to try that, where basically they eradicate your immune system with chemotherapy, and then they give you a infusion of proper immune cells, and they hope that can kind of reset your body. But it's very, very difficult, and it's still being studied, so we don't really know the long-term effects. But
That would be unbelievable.
yeah.
Well, there is always a risk also when you eradicate all of that autoimmune, you're susceptible to a lot of different disease as well, so, and like a common infection can be fatal. So
Yes.
It's a terrifying thought, and it does bring, even with the medications that she's on now that are not as intense as that, they are immune affecting medications. So since an autoimmune disease means that your immune system is hyped up too much and attacking the wrong things like your joints or your organs, a lot of the medications reduce the efficacy of your immune system, and that's why we do things like masking, because you can still be prone to getting a lot of illnesses more easily, or getting sicker from illnesses that other people may not get as sick from.
Yeah, so I usually will catch any common cold, anything going around, but then also I have a harder time fighting it off, but then also I'm more susceptible to secondary infections like sinus infections and things where just you get like another sickness on top just because you couldn't fight off the first one
sure.
too much.
My father-in-law had MS, and he would get something, and it would really multiply the effects of it to, a common cold could be like pneumonia by both the symptoms that he had. So he wasn't as susceptible to the secondary, but the first one would just escalate so much that it's there. But you know, look, you hold a lot of hope, and you're fighting and really advocating for this. I know recently there was a pretty big breakthrough in sickle cell anemia. So you know, we are moving in the right direction, and keep up the fight, and you know, the fundraising, and keep us posted when you're doing stuff. So we
Thank you for
know.
bringing the awareness to everybody that's home watching it and stuff, you know? It means a lot.
And I don't think a lot of people know, you know, you talk about invisible, but there's that invisibility of awareness of lupus. You know, unless you have someone in your family. My sister-in-law suffers from it, so it never heard of it before that. You know, that was a couple of decades ago, but still, you don't hear enough about it in the news. You don't hear enough about it in the research, and so I'm very happy that you are bringing that to the town.
Yeah, I didn't know about lupus until I was diagnosed with it. And so
Right.
hopefully also some people don't even know what lupus is until it winds up attacking their heart or their kidneys, and there's just no going back once you start getting organ involvement. So we also hope that more people will get checked out earlier and keep fighting and advocating for themselves so that they can get treatment before it gets to such a devastating level. I'm lucky enough to not have an organ involvement, and it still completely affects me every single day. So I always want other people to go out there, get your checkups. If something feels weird, you keep advocating for yourself, and keep going until you find the doctor that's right for you.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Brittany, I'm sorry that you have to go through this. You know, you look at things and you say, why do these things exist? I mean, you guys are just great people, and it doesn't matter whether you're a terrible person or you're wonderful people like you. It doesn't discriminate, and it doesn't pick and choose. It's just, and I'm sorry you have to go through all of that. You know, really.
Thank you.
Thank you, we appreciate it.
Lonnie, Susan, any? No?
All the best.
Yeah.
Thank you so
We
much.
do
Thank
have
you.
a proclamation to read into the record. I did forget to bring down my hard copy, so maybe I could give you a call for tomorrow, and we'll get that for you, and we'll post it online as well.
Okay.
So, Serge, you wanna?
Yep. Lupus Awareness Month, Brittany and Cheryl Sanchez. Whereas 1.5 million Americans and 5 million people worldwide suffer from the often debilitating effects of lupus, a chronic autoimmune disease that can cause severe damage to the tissue and organs in the body, and in some cases death. And whereas each year thousands of people are newly diagnosed with lupus, the majority of whom are between the ages of 15 and 45, and 90% of whom are women. And whereas lupus is 2 to 3 times more prevalent among African Americans, Hispanics, Latinos, Native Americans, and Asian Americans, tragically, thousands of people die from lupus each year because a cure remains elusive. And whereas the symptoms of lupus are variable, and health professionals may be unaware of the symptoms and health effects of lupus, people with lupus can suffer for many years before they obtain a correct diagnosis and medical treatment, demonstrating the need for increased public and professional awareness of lupus. And whereas medical research efforts into lupus and the discovery of safer, more effective treatments for lupus patients are underfunded relative to more than the 1.5 million people living with lupus, and whereas increasing community awareness and focusing public attention on lupus and its devastating impact on patients' lives will provide hope for a better future for those affected. And whereas we recognize the needs of those chronically ill people who are living with lupus, and urge all citizens to support the search for a cure and assist those individuals and families who deal with this devastating disease on a daily basis. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that the Town Board of the Town of Yorktown recognizes May 2026 as Lupus Awareness Month in the Town of Yorktown. All right.
Thank you, Serge. Thank you again, ladies. All right, we do have another proclamation. Do we have any veterans in the room today? We do not. Well, we are going to read our Memorial Day proclamation into the record. Whereas since the founding of the United States of America, courageous individuals have laid down their lives in service to our community, protecting the unalienable freedoms we hold dear. And whereas in 1971, the United States Congress established a national observance of Memorial Day as the last Monday of May, making it a federal holiday honoring those that have died while serving our great nation. And whereas Memorial Day grants Americans the opportunity to honor the brave men and women who paid the ultimate sacrifice to guarantee the freedoms and liberties we cherish and those that built the foundation of our proud country. And whereas we are forever indebted to the millions of individuals who were committed to protecting the liberties, safety, and quality of life in America, it is fitting and proper that we express our gratitude for the dedicated service, courageous deeds, and sacrifice of our soldiers, sailors, Marines, airmen, and Coast Guard. And whereas the town of Yorktown has dedicated Veteran Memorial Circle as a reminder that we must always remember and honor the ultimate sacrifice of our veterans and the loss their families feel when a hero's life is given in war or post-war stress. The memorial, too, honors the thousands of veterans who have served the military in times of war and peace. We are proud of them all. Now, therefore, be it resolved that I, Edward Lachterman, as supervisor of the town of Yorktown, along with the town board, do hereby proclaim the date of May 25th, 2026, as a day of observance and remembrance for our fallen heroes, and urge all residents to observe the day by remembering the fallen for their outstanding bravery, dedication, and supreme sacrifice. And we will make copies of those available to both our Veterans of Foreign War and our American Legion posts, so they have that.
So, something that I just recently became, it's not that I recently became aware of, but just, I guess, to emphasize once again the fact that it just so happens it falls in the month that we deal with mental health and mental health issues. But I believe, starting with the Vietnam veterans, at least they've done studies from the Vietnam veterans and through today, that the amount of veterans who die from suicide and post-traumatic stress actually tripled the amount that actually die within the conflict at hand.
Wasn't it 21 a day right now?
Yes, it was. So it's just something that we need to, again, when Cheryl talked about how we need to show compassion and to be aware we don't know what's happening behind the glasses or behind the eyes, or that we need to be compassionate to everyone we deal with and understand we don't know what everyone is holding within inside themselves. So.
Absolutely. I remember the mental health first aid class. I think you might have taken that, and they had the young man who jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge, and
Correct.
he was saying he was sitting on the bus in tears saying if someone just recognizes it, I'll talk to them. If someone says anything, and he's about to jump, a pretty blonde lady runs up to him and says, wait, could you take my picture? And he took her picture, and then he jumped off the bridge, but
Right.
survived. But she was just oblivious to that fact, and the signs are there. And it is definitely,
So tragic.
yeah, a week from Saturday, I'm actually for the fourth time going to be a guardian on the honor flight with a bunch of people from Yorktown going there, 5, and we're all a big group, and you really realize it when you go with a Vietnam veteran to the wall, and they go to visit a friend whose name is on the wall, and you see the effects. And even our speaker, hopefully for Memorial Day, Nils Mokler, who just turned 100, talks about all the time the people he left behind on Iwo Jima as a young Marine scout, and those that didn't come back. And you realize how, here he is, 80 years later, and he still feels that hurt, that I left my friends behind, and it stays with you. It's there.
Problem is with the story about the bridge. I mean, we're so wrapped up in
Ourselves?
in society, there's your
Day-to-day grind.
cell phone is the biggest thing. I mean, now you're getting, hammered with the bills you owe, all this other nonsense, and you kind of lose sight of what's important.
You do.
You kind of lose sight of what's important.
You do. So, all right.
Worrying about a selfie,
Yep. For personnel, I have one resolution to read in. This is from last week's closed session where the candidate was brought before us from PD. Be it resolved that Anthony Mosca is hereby appointed conditional police officer in the town of Yorktown Police Department from eligible list number 60-12780, effective June 24th, 2026, to be paid the contractual salary of $53,243 annually. Be it resolved that said appointment is hereby made contingent upon the applicant's successful completion of all mandatory medical and psychological testing, and be it further resolved that this appointment is subject to a probationary period of no less than 12 nor more than 78 weeks, commencing on the first date of appointment on June 24th, 2026, in which date he will be entering the police academy. And Sergio, I believe you know Anthony and his family pretty well.
I was his coach. I was his baseball coach. The kid's like 6'3" now. I used to be taller than him. But great family.
But then he got into kindergarten and
Exactly right. It didn't last long. I didn't say it lasted long. I'm just telling you, at some point, I was actually taller than someone.
That sounds great.
So, did you see the commercial for the shoes with the high heels that you could get 3 inches?
No.
I
I
gotta
don't-
try it. We should try
there
it.
you go.
So anyway, great family. Just a Yorktown kid. His brother is actually in the Yorktown High School now, and he's head of the police in Yorktown High School.
The chief's police club,
Yeah, great
law
family.
enforcement club,
Great family, great pick.
and very polite.
You need
Actually,
a
I saw
motion? 'Cause I
him
would
the
love
other
to make
day.
the
You
motion
can make
for
the
him.
motion if you'd
I'll
like.
make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All right, we'll open the floor to public comment. Please remember, 1 time to speak, 3 minutes per speaker. Please introduce yourself when you're here and direct all comments to the board. And that's about it.
Good evening.
Oh, I'm sorry. You could reach us anytime you would like on online, through the phone, all of our numbers plus or emails, and all of the town department heads are on our website.
Good evening.
Good evening, Jay.
Jay Kopstein. A little bit of history, if I may.
Sure.
During the war between the North and the South, between 620,000 and 750,000 soldiers died on both sides. Shortly after the conflict ended, both sides began honoring their war dead by decorating their graves. Pursuant to Congress, on May 5th, 1866, began the official concept of decorating the graves of the Civil War dead in Waterloo, New York. In 1868, a Northern Civil War veterans organization, the Grand Army of the Republic, declared that May 30th would be the day for memorializing and decorating the graves of the Union war dead. Decoration Day was born. In 1887, the federal government gave its employees off on Decoration Day. After the end of the First World War, Decoration Day was renamed Memorial Day to honor all the U.S. war dead. In 1971, as you said, Congress declared that Memorial Day would be a national holiday on the last Monday of May to make a 3-day weekend. In my opinion, this was a mistake. Memorial Day has now become the unofficial beginning of summer, a barbecue day, and a sale day, we have forgotten the real meaning of Decoration Day or Memorial Day.
Thank you, Jay.
Thank you, Jay.
Good evening. I'm Howard Gould, a 27-year Yorktown resident. I am here because a town's strength depends entirely on its foundation. In construction, you cannot build a lasting home without stone and timber. In Yorktown, our stone is our physical infrastructure, specifically the Route 6 and 202 interchange, which is at a breaking point. Our timber is our human support, the police, fire, and EMS, and the local service workers who keep our business running, all of whom are spread thinner with every new development. That is why I am strongly advocating for a 15% affordable housing set aside. To protect our environment, we should prioritize this density on already developed land like the JV Mall rather than clearing our forests. This ensures our responders, service workers, seniors, and younger generations aren't priced out of the community they serve. I'm reminded of the lyrics Johnny Mathis saying that a chair is still a chair and a house is just a house, but they aren't a home without the heart. To me, the heart of Yorktown is our safety and our community character. We must also protect our natural infrastructure. Every acre of green space we pave over high-density building is a loss we cannot undo. Our trees and open lands are the lungs of Yorktown. Building without infrastructure is building on sand. High costs create an workforce gap where the people who work here cannot afford to live here. I am for infrastructure first growth. Let us ensure our roads, environment, and emergency responders can handle the calls before we add more weight to the scale. Let's be the architecture of a stable Yorktown, not a crowded one. As the landscape changes, we must ensure that Yorktown remains a community where a stable home is attainable necessity for all our residents rather than a luxury beyond the reach of those who keep our town running. By the way, happy 80th birthday to the legendary Cher. Her birthday's tomorrow. Wish my very good friend a milestone year that is spectacular, timeless as she is, as she is. If I could turn back time and the beat goes on. Thank you, and I'm submitting this for the record.
All right, happy
Thanks.
birthday to Cher.
Yes.
Here we go.
Hi, Sarah.
Good evening, Sarah Wilson, resident of Yorktown Heights. When I think about May 30th, that happens to be my sister's birthday. And before they turned it into the last Monday of the month, she was always so tickled that they had a parade on her birthday. And she figured, it was for her birthday. when
She
was
deserves
young.
it.
Anyway, I saw Brittany and Cheryl in their purple for lupus, and I didn't hear it mentioned during the opening comments, but coming up a week from Friday is the
Thank you.
American Cancer Society Relay for Life over at the Jack DeVito Memorial Track and Field.
Just Jack DeVito
I-
veterans.
Okay, we all know where it is.
Sixth grade school.
And that goes from 3 in the afternoon till 10 p.m. The fundraising goal here in Yorktown is $75,000. 10 days to go. I think they've raised about $29,000. So just want to remind people about the event. Hopefully come on down to the event, visit some of the organizations and sponsors that are participating. If you can't come, you can go online, find a team, support the team, purchase a luminaria. Lions Club will be there, of course, very active as they always are. We want to celebrate our survivors and honor those who have passed as a result of cancer. So, thank you.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Anyone else?
Going once, twice.
All right, motion to close courtesy of the floor.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You know, Jay, I sort of agree that it's probably a mistake because a lot of it's lost. That's why I think it's so important that we talk about it, that we do our proclamation each year and have the parade, have the speeches, go to the Vietnam Memorial, the World War II Memorial that we do, and those are very, you know, those two in particular. We do have the firemen at the World War II, but they are very, shall I say, intimate. Yeah, well, intimate. It's not pomp and circumstance. It's memory, and it's really knowing why we're there. I know a lot of us in the room have relatives that Vietnam War era and served, and we know a lot of people with that. My cousin Charles passed from the effects of Agent Orange, and you know, not pretty. You know, so it is important for that. I will say, though, if you do want to celebrate that spirit of Decoration Day, the American Legion Post 1009, I'm sure the VFW does it somewhere too. They actually go out and put flags at the cemeteries on the Friday of Memorial Day weekend. I've gone to Amawalk Cemetery usually every year, although the last year I had a conflict and couldn't make it. But you will find Army of the Grand Republic markers at the graves there for the flags to be put into, and it's really a very historic cemetery. There are a lot of veterans, and their graves are usually marked. And if you go into the cemetery and then head north and then down the hill to the east, there's a section where there's a lot of Revolutionary War era stones. They're hard to read, so you don't know if it's soldiers or not, but it's pretty amazing. And you know, the Boy Scouts work with them. The Sons of the American Legion Post, they go out and do that. So you could always, I think they start at 5 or 5:30. But if you reach out to the American Legion Post and want to be a part of that, it's a great way to pay tribute to those who served and those who lost their lives and paid that ultimate sacrifice for our country. Howard, well, you covered a lot of ground, no pun intended, on the roadways, but you know, that's one of the reasons we're looking at a moratorium on building. We want to see what the effects of what's here. Talk to our law enforcement, although they're pretty convinced because it's not a lot of commercial stuff. The commercial is probably a little worse for them, like you have more larcenies and all. But yeah, that we're sort of looking to, you know, pump the brakes, get some of the information in, look to see what we need. There's some things we're trying to talk to DOT about. Unfortunately, both of the roads that are the problematic roads in our community are 202 and Route 6, which are owned by the state, and they are very eager to take our tax dollar, but not as eager to put it back into the improvements in the roadways. So it's something we're looking at. I have a few ideas that we're trying to float. There's a new director for this region, so we're trying to float to see if they could do a little work and see what we could do. Unfortunately, back in the days when everything was planned, I know, like, you could look at Route 6. They were asked to move some of the storefronts back when they were developing stuff. People didn't want to do it. They built it up. You have your narrow one lane each way up there, and there's not much you're going to do about it at this point unless you could figure out a way to move a building and its foundation. But we will, you know, we'll look at whatever changes we can make and hope that we could get DOT to sign on to them, or if we need to, if we could get enough money, which is really not my answer, because it shouldn't come out of only our tax dollars when it's a state road. A lot of our traffic that we get here is not Yorktown traffic. People coming out of Peekskill, out of Somers, out of Connecticut, they follow along these roadways, and we unfortunately have to have the burden of that, and then we need to figure out if we could pay for stuff, and then paying for stuff it's like the chicken or the egg. Now we go back to, you know, what do we do for tax base? What do we do for people coming in and working? So that's all in that decision process, and a lot of the work that needs to, you know, get worked out. And fortunately, we have a great planning department, but there's only so much you can do when it's not in your jurisdiction. Yeah, no problem. And Sarah, you're right. Thank you for reminding us about Relay. And I will say the Lions do a great spread. Jim and Denise Poulin, who also chair Relay in town, they'll have a nice buffet available, and it's very reasonable per plate. So you could go, you could have something to eat, you could visit the booths, talk to people about awareness, and the things I look forward to are the survivors' first lap and the luminaries. So it is some great stuff. Entertainment this year too, I assume, correct? Some bands. They usually have. And dance studios, great. Yes. So we'll have dance, we'll have music, we'll have food. Sounds like a party to me. So make sure you get down there and help support it. It is a great cause. And as we mentioned before, they're making some, it's making a difference. There have been some great advancements in cancer research, and now they're talking about a blood test that'll detect cancer way before any scanning, which, they say if you could last another 5 years, it'll be your choice if you want to live up to 100 or greater. So we'll see how that goes. All right.
I have no comments.
Yeah, I'd just like to pick up on your comments, Howard, about infrastructure and to add on to what Ed said, Route 6, 202, state roads, we need DOT. But we have tremendous infrastructure needs here in Yorktown. Our roads, our drainage, water, sewer, parks, our town buildings, which is why I've been advocating that we need a capital plan. What's in the back of the budget book, which I'm sure very few people look at, all right, maybe Jay and maybe you, a few people, I would say a handful, look at that. It's really a list from the departments of their ideas for what to do in the future. There's no sense of prioritization about what's important over the next 1 to 3 to possibly 5 years. There's no significant discussion of what town funds we're going to use and where we're going to possibly go for grants. Sometime within the next roughly month or so, we should be getting the results of our 2025 audit. We will have a figure then about what's available in what's known as the unallocated portion of our fund balance, money we have to spend after reserving a good portion that we should for the rainy day. To what extent there's some excess that we can spend on doing these plans, but we need a plan, not ad hoc. Oh, something came up this year, we'll do it now. 6 months from now, oh, this came up, let's do it now, without any planning, any prioritization. This is what we have to do. It was done many, many years ago. There was a list, and over time, it got checked off. And this is what we have to do now. We need a concrete plan that prioritizes our needs and says we're going to spend $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, whatever amount of money we have available to spend, we have to spend it. And later on, when we get to one of the resolutions, you'll hear me talk about a critical infrastructure project, which we almost came close to losing $5.8 million because we didn't use it. And we'll talk about that when we vote on the resolution. And then in new business, I have more to talk about an infrastructure need that dates back to 2019 that has not been addressed. So yes, we need infrastructure improvements that the town controls without dealing with the state.
Yeah, and I will say, because it sort of casts a dispersion against our department heads, but they do prioritize. Matter of fact, the pool was on the capital improvement list, which is being done this year. The tanks that got done during the last year, yeah. So I think it's a little disingenuous to say they're not planning, Susan, but you know the old saying, men make plans, God laughs.
We
So-
need a
Yep.
we need a plan. The
Well,
Parks Department has a long list.
Which
All
is-
of the projects are worthwhile, all right? But we have to say which are the most important ones instead of lately we've been adding on projects that probably, because they get more publicity, tend to get the attention and possibly the dollars, but they are, in terms of the Parks Department, might be number 25 on a priority list.
All right,
So yes, we have to
So
plan.
we're going to move forward to our public hearings. Thank you, Susan. Lonnie, you were good, right?
Good.
No.
All right, so we're going to convene a public hearing to consider proposed local law to amend Chapter 130 of the Code of Town of Yorktown entitled Building Construction and Fire Prevention regarding lock boxes. Sergio, on the lockbox law,
Yeah, it's Knox box, but not lockbox, but
thank you.
anyway, so I think we reviewed it. We received some comments. Jay, I know you had a concern. All right, you'll make a comment. I mean, if anybody has any questions, feel free to ask. I think this is an easy lift here. It's something we've been trying to get through for some time. I am now the liaison of the Fire Advisory Board, so they brought it to my attention, and this is something that's coming straight from our first responders and what they feel is necessary. Pretty much the crux of it is that the Knox boxes are usually up high, and so they usually have to
Get a
get
ladder.
a ladder, and you know it takes longer to get to the key. This is going to bring the Knox boxes down lower. The law specifies what type of box it's supposed to be. It's controlled by and regulated by our departments, the fire department. So the fire marshal. So
Boxes are also alarmed as well, correct?
the boxes are also alarmed, right? Because you got keys to the kingdom in there, right? So that's basically it. We're just making it more accessible, quicker to get to, and standardizing a lot of things. What's next?
Yep. All right, let's open the floor to public comment.
Good evening, Jay Copstein. Short comment about this piece of legislation and any future similar pieces of legislation. Take the key number out of the legislation and insert in its place the key number as designated by the fire department. Why are we telling everybody what the key number is that they can buy online?
Thank you. Can we make that change, Ruben? Just tell
That
Adam.
would be point number 7 in the law.
Key number designated by the fire department.
But designated by the town.
Designated
would
by the
be,
town.
yeah.
Okay.
So I did bring that. Does anybody else have any? Should we address that comment now, or
Well,
finish?
you could address it right off.
So I did bring that to the attention. As a matter of fact, as early as last night, with the fire advisory board. Last night. The original law actually didn't designate the key, and they found that to be troublesome. And I asked them. I brought your comments to their attention, and they said they want the key designated in the law. Because they want to standardize. That's what they told me. Now I could go. For me, I could go either way with it. If we did take the key number out of the law, does that delay the public hearing? Do we have to have it in front of us for another
No.
10 days? Is it
No.
a substantive change?
It is not. It's still a key with it specifically designated. I would not see that as a significant change.
The fire
Lonnie?
advisory board
So
said.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Lonnie, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't think that would
Yeah.
be significant.
Susan?
No, I'm okay with what
Pat?
works for the fire,
Pat?
the first responders.
I
They're
would
rec-
also point out that there's a typo that needs to be fixed and
All right.
corrected.
So like I said, the
Just let Adam know what you need on that.
the fire advisory board wants the key in there.
Yes.
Now, it doesn't matter to, I think either way, I see Jay's point, right? I see his point, but I think they had a problem in the past where people were just doing whatever they wanted, and
Let's make sure it's designated through the building department, so they'll know that they go to building, you're doing a commercial, here's your Knox box code, done.
well, I think the issue is the type of key that is specifically designated in
Yeah.
the new law.
Yeah, but you let them you make sure building department hands that out as part of the commercial permit.
Oh, I see. So that's how they would know.
Yeah. Then it's there. Howard, go on. Yeah.
Hello, Howard Gould again. I just want to say I totally agree with Jay Copstein's, what he said.
Thanks, Howard. All right, anyone else with comments on this? No? Motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I think we could pass this with so little on it. So,
Does this need a
Passing
secret?
it as amended with taking out the key numbers, is that correct?
correct.
Do we have to do a secret neg deck? Was it type 2? Do we have to do that
Ask your town attorney.
Reuben,
for a local law?
do we need to do a negative declaration?
If,
If it's a
if
type
Adam
2?
didn't decide on doing that already, I don't think so.
All
So-
right, I'm ready to
Just so
vote
we're
on
clear,
it.
what is
I'm-
the language on it? What does it say? I think it says, instead of it designating the specific key, it should say, designated by the fire marshal or something like that, right? It's gotta say
The
something like that.
town,
Designated by
it could
the
be the
town.
town, the fire, I would say the town. This way they get it out of the building department.
No, the specific key
Yes,
is chosen by the fire marshal, and then the town could
Well,
disseminate that information.
the fire
Anything.
marshal is part of the town.
No, I
so-
understand, but I think
so.
the original law, that's what it said. Designated
Fire
by,
key service shall be a Yale blah, 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 or the pre-existing key. So the fire service key shall be designated by the town.
no, it would, the town, in this whole law, it's not the town that's designating this, it's, that, like, so the fire marshal is the one that picks the type of knock locks and all of that
So
stuff.
shall be designated by the fire marshal.
Yeah, I think that's what yours
For the
was.
town of
That
Yorktown,
would be number 7. The fire service key shall be designated by the fire marshal.
Yeah.
for the town of Yorktown.
Is it the fire or the chiefs? Who would?
I don't know if they can they have no, they don't have the authority to designate a key for the town. We would have to
I brought
designate
this,
it,
I had so long ago that I don't remember.
so.
You want me to ask a question? Can we put this on hold and come back to it? Proceed with the next
Well,
one?
if the building inspector shall ensure a key lockbox is installed, everything is based upon a requirement from the building department. So the building inspector shall ensure a key lockbox, okay? And then the key lockbox has to meet all these requirements that the towns.
See here, it says, at least 2 feet, that shall be determined by the appropriate fire district chief. That's who I think it's supposed to fall under.
The key lockbox shall be located at a height.
So the
All right,
the
but
key
that-
should be designated by the district chief, the fire district chief. And I think that's the language we should put in there.
All right, that's
Or in
fine.
or in conjunction with the head of the building
consultation.
department.
Red tape, right? I think you pick who's gonna pick the key. I think it's the fire district chief. I think that's where it was.
That's fine. So we'll change that language to fire district chief.
They'll designate the key, the type of key you need, and then that'll be disseminated to the to building.
Okay.
And then building will have it in their literature when they put stuff.
Yep.
Okay.
You got that? You're clear on that? Of course. Okay, all right.
Yes. So motion to accept the
I will definitely
new
make that
local law.
motion.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Convene a public hearing to consider proposed local law to amend Chapter 240, Section 240-8 of the Code of the Town of Yorktown entitled Sewers and Septic Systems. Ann and Heather.
Affidavit of posting?
Thank you. You have comments?
A hearing I've been waiting for a long, long time, Dan. I'm glad to see you here.
Glad to be here. All right, so, we've talked about it a lot. A couple of months ago, we did a presentation. We went through kind of laying out how we collect tax. So this local law that we're discussing this evening is really to simplify how we collect revenue for our operation and maintenance, which means that any outstanding indebtedness still remains locked into the special districts that debt goes with. That doesn't change, we can't change, it's against the law to do that. So what I'm gonna do tonight is just briefly go through what we talked about last time, and what we're trying to attempt to do here is, we've got, it's like 13 districts on the books, and that's not including all the ones that are no-cost districts that the controller doesn't know about, the assessor knows about, but they don't use it because we don't collect money for it. So what we're trying to do is simplify things, because we have 2 collection systems we maintain and 1 treatment plant. So really, we're looking if we could kind of sort of distill this down to basically 3 main funds, which really kind of become 2 funds. So the existing sewer rent right now, Yorktown is $1.20 per 1,000 gallons. So people pay tax, but they also pay $1.20 per 1,000 gallons. In Peekskill, not everybody is in Peekskill pays a sewer rent or billing on their water. So that rate is $1.50, but there's people who pay tax that don't pay it. So this is sort of where we're heading, to have a unified way to collect the revenue. So we have one we call Chalet, one we call Shrub Oak. Both those rates right now are $1.50, and those rates are established in the rate schedule. So the proposal is to not change that the law would still reference the rate schedule, and the rate schedule can be adjusted at any time by the board when they feel it's necessary. So again, just to talk about the collection systems, if you look at how many pump stations we have, miles of sewer, things like that, the Peekskill collection system really is comparable to the Yorktown system. You know, they both have, 60-something miles of pipe. They both have like 8 pump stations. So there's really not a big difference in terms of what we're serving.
So Dan, the people at home, you're just trying to level the playing field for everybody.
Right.
Peekskill and Yorktown.
Well, not so much Peekskill and Yorktown, Peekskill and Peekskill.
Yeah, okay.
You know, Yorktown kind of works because it's, the tax and the sewer rent all goes into the same pot. The Peekskill stuff is just all over the yard in terms of the methods between taxes and sewer rent.
I think it's important to also stress that this is just the result of, over time, different boards, different supervisors, different lawyers, just doing them different, and
As the town grew.
As the town grew,
Basically,
exactly.
as the town grew.
So
It
now
wasn't-
it's like,
Each
what do we
district
do
was
to try to
implemented differently.
consolidate, simplify, and have something that's equitable to
Right,
all of
and
our
even on the
taxpayers?
taxes that are still collected, some of these districts are, the taxes are being levied by the unit charge assessment, which is based upon parameters that have to do with serving a lot, such as frontage and lot area, things like that. So using that methodology, you've got about 2 units per single-family house. But say if you go to Osceola, everybody's at 1 unit. So even that, if you try to just pull everybody together on assessed value, it's apples and oranges.
Right.
It's been a mess. We're cleaning it up. That's the bottom line.
I blame this on the supervisors who came before me.
Okay.
Actually, and you could punt it back down the line too, guys.
Okay, so Yorktown Sewer, Peekskill districts, these are all the districts that are presently on the books that we're collecting taxes for. So now, the ones that you're seeing in blue are ones that have no debt anymore. The guys in red still are paying off bonds, so they could never go away.
Well, they could go away after their bonds are paid off.
Correct, yeah. Once the bonds are paid off, they can disappear.
So for those districts, just to be clear, the ones you're in blue, all right? Because they have no debt service, the tax that they are currently paying on their town tax bill will disappear.
That's correct.
For example, I'm in the Osceola district, okay? My tax will disappear. There'll be a charge on the water consumption, but there will be no tax. So so some people are gonna see, and for the other people in red, they will stay and they will continue to pay for their debt service, but they will not be paying for operation and maintenance. So their taxes, their sewer tax for their sewer, local sewer district, not the Peekskill tax, that's a separate thing, will go down, but then they will have a charge on their water bill. And for everyone, it's gonna be different because we don't know, we know what the tax is, but we have no idea what your water consumption is. And that's something that the homeowner controls.
Okay. So again, just, you know, how we, in Peekskill, right now, we're collecting revenue using two methods, using tax, water consumption. Some places are just paying tax and not paying water, some people are paying both, so it's just part of the problem we're trying to correct. So right now, Yorktown Sewer is $1.20 per thousand. Peekskill Districts, as we said earlier, $1.50 per thousand. So what this breakdown is looking at how much revenue can be derived from sewer rents based on different rate scenarios. So you have $1.50, $2.50, and $3.50 as the scenarios we looked at.
$3.
Well,
No, it's $3 on your chart.
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Dark blue.
Up top.
Unless that should be $3.50.
It's 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right now, the way we handle the Peekskill districts, one of the lines is a transfer to Yorktown. And what that is, that's our means of, all our payroll for our staff comes out of the Yorktown Sewer District. So all these districts pay something to the Yorktown District. So some of them, that's all they are. They're just paying for Yorktown personnel to service their district. The other stuff, the other expenses are, some of them where we have pump stations, there's alarm expenses, gas expenses, electricity. So it takes you to a total of $801,000. If you sum up all the stuff of all the, 13 districts, what we collect from them via taxes.
Just for the Peekskill districts.
Right, that's just the district that is tributary to Peekskill. So if I jump back to the previous one, you can see the scenarios, like approximating how much revenue in that bottom line for each of those scenarios, how much, how much, each scenario would yield. So the situation we're in right now is we've done a budget based upon tax revenue. So the districts that are paying $1.50, we could leave there. The biggest change in all of this is what's listed as SO5, and that would be the people, mostly Osceola, the people who are not paying on their water but are paying taxes. And the method of assessment is a little wonky, but that's a whole other story. But, the more you analyze it, the more you realize water is the common denominator. And it seems like the fairest thing. The more water you use, the more you should pay.
So that being said, Dan, I have a family of 5, showers, laundry, this, I'm paying the same as, let's say, Susan, that basically she's living by herself and she showers and does laundry once a week. With the water consumption, what you're trying to do here is you're leveling out the playing field so that my water bill reflects what I use and Susan's reflects what she uses.
Correct. Yeah,
So,
I mean,
and it's the fairest way.
Right, so somebody who's got a big old house, a full house, is
I
going
just
to
wanted
pay one thing, and
people on
somebody,
TV.
A fine example is, look at a Jefferson Village. There, you have 1 and 2 people living, typically in the units, and they'll be paying less.
Yeah.
Based upon how much water they use. So, to your analogy, somebody living in a senior condo shouldn't be paying the same amount for the service as a full house.
Yeah. Gotcha.
But to go back to this slide and to the other one, it's not just the the Peekskill districts that are going to pay the water, the sewer rent, the water charge. It's also people in the Halleck's Mill, which is roughly 4,000 Peekskill, roughly 4,000 for Halleck's Mill, 4,100 for the Peekskill districts. They will also pay the same sewer rent charge that the Peekskill districts will pay. Correct.
Right, I mean, and again, that's something we don't have to decide tonight, but this legislation provides the framework to tweak that as necessary.
That's right, and the taxes, in the Halleck's Mill district, they pay one charge, all right? They also pay on their water bill right now, but their tax bill, which is just shy of $600 for a typical house, that will be reduced because their O&M expenses will come off.
But the important thing to note too is that the Halleck's Mill kind of works because it's the same cast of characters. That all people are taxed the same way, and all people, the sewer rent revenue goes into that pot. With all these different districts, as well as the people who aren't in tax districts that benefit from that collection system, there's where everything, that there's no uniform methodology.
Yeah, agreed, yeah.
Actually,
So that's
Dan,
the most
Dan,
important
Dan, if we
thing.
could, let's get through the presentation. Guys, hold your questions till the end, jot them down. I want to give the public a chance to ask questions. So, thank you.
All right, all right, so then again, that was some revenue scenarios, you know, keeping in mind, in a sense, we're already whole for revenue for this year, so this year would be a transition to the new methodology. Okay, we talked about that slide. So we wanted to talk about some examples. So right now, the budget for Clover Road is $8770, and that's based upon an approximation of the manpower required to do that. Now, this is a district that was established by virtue of town creating a special district using that unit charge methodology. Now, in this particular district, what gets lost in the shuffle, for example, is the GW school paid up front, which they were able to do. So they're not taxed anymore. But they do pay on their water bill. And that's, you know, what levels the playing field here. So it's a small district. There's only 33 properties that are assessed in it. So that's the tax rate per unit. So keep in mind, because it was using that lateral sewer district methodology, you multiply, you know, on average it'll be about 2 units, so that's where the 189 comes from. And then the sewer rent is $1.50 per thousand. So now what would happen is the new tax rate would be 0. We would no longer collect taxes from those people. Their sewer rent, if we go to $1.50 or whatever we go to, you know, that's where we would end up. Whatever we decide that the right rate is, whether we transition one number this year to a different number with the 2027 budget. So we did another example, which is one of the outliers and one of the bigger ones. Osceola is a big district. Budget's a little over $193,000. It's got over 2,600 parcels in it. And the rate that they pay is $62.41 per unit. And because everybody's assessed at 1 unit, that's what they pay. So if you look right off the bat, if you look at just the difference between them and Clover Road, why do they pay so much less?
Right.
And, you know, and again, with these guys, that's a typical home, that's what they're gonna pay. They're 1 unit, and the sewer rent is 0. They're not paying any sewer rent. So in contrast to Clover Road people paying a higher tax and sewer rent, Osceola paying a lower tax and no sewer rent. So the new tax rate would be 0. Sewer rent, $1.50 or whatever we decide it needs to be. And then finally, we just took a quick look at Yorktown. Now, Yorktown's a much bigger budget. So, it's, you know, I didn't get into the weeds about what DEP pays, but, you know, it's like almost $5 million is what it costs to operate. In that case, it's got a little over 4,000 parcels that are connected to it. And the rate is $664 per unit typical property is 1 unit. So that's what they're paying, and typical home would pay that much. And again, we're a little lower, they're the $1.20. Keep in mind, the difference between this example and the prior two is that this one, we're operating a wastewater treatment plant. So in Peekskill, you're paying a tax to the county, they're operating the plant. And in this district, we're the end of pipe. We have to collect it as well as treat it. So in the new scenario, because, you know, if we kick it up to $1.50, it doesn't really impact the rate that much. You know, it knocks off, you know, and this is a moving target, right? If you wanted to go to, you know, in the case of Yorktown, like I said, it sort of works the way it's set up. So it's really more a matter of whether you want to set a uniform rate and to what extent do you want to move revenue from taxes to water. And that's sort of the, you know, the balancing act. And again, the sewer rent, we're talking about $1.50, but again, that's at the town board's discretion in the rate schedule. That's it.
So go back to that slide real quick, Dan. The tax rate, typical home, the 664, what's built into that?
It's the, well, it's what we talked about, the collection system is built into it, you know, all the pump stations and pipes and, you know, all that.
And the operation of the
The operation of the
treatment plant.
plant, right. So that's the big ticket, and there's a number of bonds we're paying off. There's a lot of
So
bond
that six,
principal and interest from the upgrades.
and that 637 is mainly bond payments, or is that just,
No, there's a lot of O and M in there.
okay.
Well, that,
It's a
The
lot of
plant.
it is the O&M of the plant.
it's the plant.
Right.
It's,
You know, and one argument you can make, you know, it's particularly with the plant, is that the more sewage that comes in, the more electricity we use. We spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on chemicals that we feed based upon the flow coming in. So there's a real nexus between how much water comes in and how much
are the
our
homes-
expenses go up.
How much are the homes that, getting back to the other district, where the county is the plant, okay? How much basically is the tax rate for them, for the count, you know?
When the Peekskill sewer
the
treatment?
Peekskill.
Do I have it here? Well, the Peekskill's a little different too,
question,
because
Lon.
Peekskill's ad valorem, so they're not using a unit charge system. So they're going by assessed value.
and we have no control over that.
No,
The
I
county
understand,
sets
but
that.
I'm just curious if
Yeah.
Yeah.
we're trying to equalize things, if we.
That's actually one of the arguments about the EMS stuff. If you break it out over more, it comes cheaper per.
Right.
So the Westchester County, the tax rate is about $41 per thousand. So figure you got a $10,000 assessed value, you're
400 and-
paying $400.
Okay.
And they don't manage the collection system.
Right.
So that's on us.
Right,
Alex Mill, you're getting
right,
both services.
okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Dan, for doing all of this and for showing the example. My only comment would be that since we're cutting back on the taxes, we're taking the O and M out of the taxes for the Peekskill district, and also portion from Yorktown Sewer. I don't think realistically we can keep $1.50. I think realistically, that rate per thousand is gonna have to go up. I don't know yet what it is, and we're in the process of this transition where we're not gonna be sure, but I think if this law passes, and then the next step is the town board sets the rate, I think we have to be transparent with our residents that it's not gonna be $1.50, it's gonna be more, and I think you have talked about ballparking it at $2.50 based on your calculations, based on the water consumption that we know we have. We have a good estimate as to what the total O&M costs will be, all right? So then we have to look at, that's the cost, and then this is our water consumption, and then we figure out what the rate per thousand has to be. And I think from our conversations, to be totally honest and transparent with our residents, it's gonna be more than $1.50.
Right.
Is that
No,
correct?
I mean, you can see from the earlier slide, we said, right now, in the budget, the revenue collected, or the budgets for all those districts, when you add it up, it's about $800,000. So if you look at this slide, you can see that, if we kick the rate up, including Osceola, what is it, like 570,000. So at $1.50 per thousand, you don't meet the 800, but we're already whole for 2026 because we've already done the tax levy.
Yeah.
So we've got this transitional phase where we'll develop data because, the water usage will be coming in. We'll see what the revenue looks like, but we have to up it because we're not going to get to the 800,000 at $1.50.
Right.
That's right, yeah,
So it'll
that's
have to
all
be
I'm saying.
Somewhere between a $1.50 and $2.50, it could be.
Most likely, but we don't need to jump
Right, well,
too
we don't
high in
know
the
yet.
beginning.
Maybe 2.25,
Right.
whatever it is.
So I asked a question to Dan yesterday, which I did not get an answer for, which for me cast doubt on all of these numbers and calculations. I wanted to know how many people, what is the percentage, and it was a ballpark, I wasn't even looking for specific numbers. What percentage of people are gonna be negatively, we keep talking about people being positively impacted, it's gonna go down. And then all of a sudden, and on the other side of our mouth, we're talking about raising the rates. So my question is, what percentage what people are gonna be negatively impacted, and what percentage are gonna be positively impacted, where they're gonna save some money? Because to me, I'm looking at this, and some people that the rates are it's gonna go up, whatever their cost is. Yeah, you're not gonna be paying the taxes, but you're gonna get hit with the $2.50 charge. And what is that going to look like? I was not able to get an answer. I thought it was a very basic question. Not happy that I didn't get an answer. I'll be quite honest, Dan. But for me, this is all, I don't know. I'm looking at these numbers and I'm not sure about it. So right
Sergio.
now, I'm not hot on this
I
at
can
all.
give you, I
Sergio,
can
did
give
you
you a
want me to
partial
call you with a
answer.
wrong
Madam
answer?
Speaking, Susan.
Yeah.
Did you want me to get back to you with a wrong answer? The numbers, we had to look at the numbers.
No, I didn't want you to get back to me with a
But
wrong
then
answer, but I did want you to get
I had
back.
nothing to tell you.
Okay.
Well,
all right,
but-
that's not what you said when I spoke to you on the phone.
Sergio, I may be able to help you, okay? Because I did some ballparking numbers. I took two of the Peekskill districts, two of the largest districts, the Hunterbrook district, which has 622 properties, and the Mohegan East district, which has 436, all right? And they're paying taxes. My numbers are rough because I'm dealing with 2006 tax rates and 2005 other numbers. So there's some inconsistency, but not much. The Hunterbrook people, in 2025, their tax was $295.77. All right. When you're only paying for debt service, their tax will go down to $87, so they will have a reduction of $108.77. Please, these numbers, because of the problems between 2025 and 2026, they're not quite the same. In Mohegan East, where the tax rate in 2025 was $377, all right, it's going to drop when they're only paying debt service to $211, so they will see a reduction in their sewer tax of $166. I can know everyone's water consumption is different, so I can't calculate that. Some people, there's a minimum, I think it's 9,000 gallons, 9,000 gallons is a minimum, so you pay that even if you only use 5,000 gallons, if you're one-person household, something. And to pass example, his household is going to use more water than I use, all right? And in the condos, like I'm in Jefferson Village, where roughly 1,000 units, the individual condo owner doesn't even pay the water bill. The homeowners association pays the water bill. So the homeowners association is going to get hit. But in terms of the taxes for these two major districts, they will see a reduction, and the 2,600 in the Osceola will see their tax will be wiped out. Clover, as you pointed out, will be wiped out. So they will see a direct savings. The water.
You're not calculating the $2.50 for the 1,000
but
gallons.
everyone-
You left that part out.
That's right, because you can't calculate that because everyone is different. And when you see it on your water bill, people have a way to control their water bill, especially now with the new meters, and when they see what they're paying, and they can control it, and say, kids, take a shower, don't stand there for a half an hour in the shower, kind
I
of a
got
thing.
3 girls. They're doing whatever they want.
I mean, I think
And your
the
wife.
big, the
Take
big
short
takeaway.
showers, that's our advice
Well, no, well, I'm
to our
just,
constituency?
no, I'm just saying, just the way we've
Guys,
told
I
it,
am not telling you to take shorter showers, all right, just so.
just the way
she
with,
is, not me.
with the new water meters, we've say, fix that leak, in your running toilet, because it's costing you money, and now they can do that
We're making money.
because the water, to the extent you can't control your taxes. They are what they are, but you can control your water
Important takeaway
consumption.
to get from this, and to your question, Sergio, there isn't one scenario. I mean, I gave you a couple of examples of what would happen, but everybody's going to be paying different because people who use more water are going to pay more than people that don't.
Yeah.
But the main takeaway to this is we're trying to level the playing field. There's going to be winners and losers, but the idea is to make it fair.
There's going to be more winners than losers.
Well, we still got to collect the same amount
I
of
think
money.
that was my
We know
question.
that. We know it. So
Yesterday.
let's move on. We get it.
And I still don't have an answer for you, Sergio, because there's winners and losers. There's so many scenarios
Yeah.
that some people are going to pay less, some people may pay more, but the objective is to make it fair.
But you're going to be gathering data throughout all
Yeah.
this, and then you're going
And
to
we're
have
gonna
you're
have-
going to have a better scope of the project after you gather the data. So
Yeah, so I mean, what I would say is,
So let's roll the dice, let's vote on something that we don't know, based on the possibility that it may or may not be better. We don't know what the water rate is, and my question is, what's the percentage of between winners and losers? I mean, because I know there are gonna be some people that are gonna be paying more, and that's just a matter of fact. And I did not get that
Well,
answer, and I
Sergio,
cannot
I
vote
don't
on
know if you
this based
realize
on-
there's like 10,000 properties involved.
All right.
Where, and they're all going to be different. It's not going to be the same,
The
and
answer,
and the thing to,
Sergio, then the answer is not to address it and let it be as ad hoc as it's been for the last 50 years, 60 years.
Where there are a
And-
lot of losers,
and right.
and because people are paying more.
I'm a winner in the system because I'm only paying $62, no matter how much water I
yes,
use.
you're voting for it.
So I'm there. You're paying more. You're paying more than me.
I have well and septic. I'm not paying anything.
A quick question about the Halleck's Mill area. If we ultimately can get somehow passed and get that project done in Halleck's Mill, okay? Now you're dealing, though, that they now will have bond issues and things like that. How will that affect this whole plan? I mean,
you're talking about the
the
sewer
sewer project.
extension?
A
Yeah,
extension,
sewer
that's
extension.
Well,
separate.
that's going to be a discrete number of properties, because what they pay will be on top of this. Because that cost and the debt, principal interest associated with those improvements will just be on that cast of
A new
characters.
section that's
So that-
now having the bond debt and everything.
Right, so those people will be paying the, whatever, the 6 and change, whatever.
And-
They'll be
and
paying on
It'll
their
be
sewer
equalized
rent,
once their bond
and-
is over.
and then they'll be paying this new tax. So they'll be like Clover Road for 30 years
Right.
until it goes away.
Right.
Okay.
And in terms of fairness, if you think about our water district, all right, water district, we pay a combination of water tax based on assessed value, and then we pay for consumption, all right? And the buck, I don't have the percentage, but my guess would be in your engineering, your sewer, you're not water, but my guess is that the overwhelming majority of the revenue in the water district comes from the consumption, from the water bill. It does not come from the taxes. So it's a question of fairness. You're paying for what you use. And I think
100%.
that's what this does. If you pay for what you use. And so, yeah, some people who are getting away with it because
They've gotten away with it for years.
they've gotten away with it for years. It's only fair that, yeah, they're going to see some loss. It's sort of like a person that I met about 2 years ago who got the new water meter, and she suddenly saw her water meter, her bill go up because she had an accurate meter now, so she was paying for what she was actually using. And she said, I accept it because I have to pay for what I use.
I keep hearing words like guess, assumption. I keep hearing all of these words. What happens, and we don't even know what the water rate is supposed to be. What happens if we're wrong? I have no faith in these numbers. I got no faith in
We
them. I'm
don't-
sorry.
we don't know.
And so what happens if we're wrong, And there's an affordability crisis already everywhere. Our electric bills are through the roof. So why not? Well, let's raise everybody's. That's what I'm trying to determine. I
Sergio.
know that certain. Hold on a second. I know that certain people are going to get their increase. They're going to get increased. I get that, and I know that certain people a percentage is going to be decreased. But I don't know what percentage is. What happens if the percentages and your guess is incorrect and it's the opposite? And most people go up instead of down. You're assuming most people are going to go down. That was the basis of my question.
Here's
So
the
that's it.
here's the important takeaway.
You guys can vote however you
Sergio,
want.
there's a real important
I'm
take.
not trying to take you guys on.
Sergio, there's a real important
You guys want to scream
takeaway
and
here.
yell at me? Go ahead. I don't really
one's
care.
screaming
I'm
about it.
just telling you the way I feel, and I'm disappointed. And so, based on that, at this point, I know when it comes time, I'll make my decision. But I know how I feel about it. I'm really not sure I don't have enough to make a decision that's going to negatively impact a lot of people. How many? I don't know. We don't know.
Well, there's a very important takeaway from this, Sergio, is I'm not looking to collect more money.
I didn't say you.
I'm not, well, you're implying that we're gonna get more money from people. All we're doing is, the budgets we have, as they stand right now, is to come up with a more
I
equitable
didn't
way.
imply that you were going to get more money from people. I implied.
Well, but-
I didn't imply. I said.
Well, you're making
directly
the
that
assumption
I'm
everybody's
afraid that
tax is
we
gonna
could-
go
You
up.
could try to talk over me. It's not going to work.
Well, he was-
What I said was that I'm concerned that more people are going to see an increase, and they're going to be more negatively impacted. I didn't say anything about you trying to collect more money. I don't know where that came from.
And
But
Sergio,
that's
here-
not what was said.
But let me tell you, when I
Just
when
to
I
be
started
clear.
when I started looking at this, when I came in as a supervisor, the problem is that okay, so if I am negatively impacted because I've been getting a ride since 1998 and not paying what I'm using, is it fair to Diana, who's been overpaying since then, and now now it equalizes. So it's
And you're basing this on these numbers, right?
no,
I don't have faith in these numbers.
I'm basing this on the taxation versus usage. We know how much water we go through.
Okay.
As a town, we could pull the water bills from northern Westchester. We get billed for it every year. So we have that estimate. Yes, there are fluctuations, and we think that actually people will conserve a little more water now. But we have our budget, so if we need to collect $7 million, we're not going to change that. What's going to happen, though, is if I'm paying in an extra $500 because I have a rate that's different than your rate, which shouldn't have been.
Ed, I have a clear understanding of what's
Okay,
going on here.
well,
Thank you.
then-
I appreciate it. Let's get to the public. Let's have them speak.
Are you done with your presentation, Dan? Or did you have any more slides?
Yeah, you know, just another point is that the numbers are based upon data, the data being the budget, the 2026 budget, which is burned into the presentation I just gave you. SO2 and SO3 and SO4, which are the water revenue stuff, we've got a history. We've been collecting money at on those funds at $1.20 and $1.50 respectively for decades. So the only unknown, and we've tried to get it as best we can, is for Osceola because they're not billed right now. But the bottom line, and I think you can see it in the rate that the Osceola people pay, they've been benefiting for underpaying for decades. Yes, their rate will go up, but it's kind of about time. We got to make this fair.
One other point before I see Mark standing there is, over the years, we have changed our fees. The master fee schedule is a lengthy schedule. We change all the pool permit fees change every year as the expenses of maintaining the pools and operating them increase. We've changed the building permit fees. We've increased other fees based on our actual expenses and what we need. So as we collect the data, and this transition period in 2027 will be the transition year, and we will have to see. So he will use his best estimate as to what we need for the water rate going into 2027, when we lose the taxing revenue, and then we will adjust it as Ed says, we know what the expenses are, we know what the water consumption is, and it's just a mathematical division to see what the rate has to be. There's no magic to it. It's the expenses, it's the water consumption, divide that by
Dan,
whatever
Dan, is there
number.
anything else on your presentation?
No, that's it.
All right, let's open for public comment. Mr. Lieberman, how are you today?
Thanks for introducing me, Mark Lieberman. So,
You're the man who needs no introduction, Mark.
There we
it's
go.
very hard to get your arms around water, so there are things I don't understand that are just basic things. So you don't measure the water leaving the house, you only measure the water coming into the house.
Right, the water comes
But
in
the
through the meter.
monies that are being paid for the water coming into the house is going towards sewers, is what you're saying.
Not,
That's how your sewer rate's calculated in a lot of municipalities. That's
Well,
how
you're
it's done.
talking sewers, and you're saying revenue comes from water usage and sewer taxes. So the water that comes into the house, that you pay your water bill every 3 months or so, is going towards sewers.
Because
No,
it
not
ultimately
exactly.
goes to the sewer.
no, not exactly. I put some new.
Okay, so you can answer my question when I finish.
Yeah, all right,
Okay,
but I
so
will
that's
answer
part
that
of what I
question.
don't understand. The other part that I don't understand, if that or most of that's the case, then when somebody's out there watering their plants and lawn, they're not using their sewers for that water. So how does that figure in to charging them or using that money towards sewers? Okay, so there are just some basic things I'd
Water
be
coming
good
into
to
the house.
understand the fundamentals. Thanks.
Thank you, Mark.
In response, that's just the point that I was going to make because I was watering some new plants just the other day. And my answer to that, Mark, is that no system is 100% perfect, right?
Mr. Copstein? Yeah, we'll,
The basics is we assume that most of the water is going into the sewer system, other than watering your lawn, washing your car, hosing down your house, whatever, okay, filling up your swimming pool, okay? We have to assume that most of it's going into the sewer system, and it's not 100% perfect, but it's a hell of a lot better than the muddled system we have now that is grossly unfair and inadequate.
Jay Copstein, I've got a very quick legal question. I guess the only two people who would possibly have an answer, the town attorney and Lanny, who can't comment on it.
Why?
We have the town engineer who has stated that some people are being overcharged. And we have people on the town board who are agreeing that some people are being overcharged. What is the liability on the districts in the town if those people who are being overcharged decide to litigate over that charge?
I believe it's a difference in charging versus an overcharging, and that's what we're trying to equalize is the way that everyone is charged. There's no equality in it right now, and I understand where you're going. So, but that's something that we need to get fixed, and if something happens there, we'll have to address that as it's there. I think because everything was set up by law originally, and even though they were all different laws, they were set up, voted on, given opportunities for public hearings. So I don't know the liability, but we'll make sure we check on it. All right. Anyone else for public comment?
I don't believe that's true.
Did Mark's questions get fully answered? Is Mark still? No, he left? Okay. Go on, Howard.
Howard Gould, that's a good point that Jay brought up. In fact, how would we know if someone's being overcharged, number one? Number two, if they are being overcharged, do they get like a tax rebate on that?
So, Howard, the thing is, I'm saying it's not an overcharge, it's a difference in charging. And there's no equity in it. It's not equal. And that's what we're trying to figure out. So, the way the system was set up was set up different in all these different systems over the years.
Right.
And that's what we need to try to equalize. So it's not saying that I was charged, like overcharged on my use. It's saying that the way that it was set up different, we want to try to level the playing field.
So if you have a bigger house, you're paying, because based on the size of your house, you're paying taxes on that. But you might only have one person living in the house, so they may not be using as much water as opposed to somebody in a smaller house that has 3 children, and they're paying less taxes but using more water. When you calculate based on the water consumption, you're paying for whatever water you use.
It's fairness.
That's basically what it is.
That's
So nobody's
all.
getting overcharged or undercharged, whatever, you know.
We're getting charged differently.
Which,
is the key.
it's just calculated differently, and we're just, what the main part of it is
Right.
trying to equalize how everybody it gets calculated, which I completely agree with. Just,
Then
I've
ma-
already made my comments about the numbers
That makes sense. Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you, Howard.
and my faith in it.
Well, that's why I raised the point about the $1.50 per thousand, just in terms of being totally transparent, that I think that number's gonna have to be adjusted, but we need some more data to analyze what that number is going to be. And again, we just looking at the expenses, looking at water consumption, doing some simple division, and that's how we come to just what we need to cover the operation and maintenance costs.
All right.
And it's fair to everyone, other than watering the lawn and washing your car and filling up your swimming pool. And again, I can't think of any other better system, for doing that. Sorry, Mark. But, but that's the way it is. And I don't know that anybody has any kind of calculation on what percentage of the water doesn't go into the sewer system. We just don't know. But again, it's the best that we can do. Because
All
we
right.
only have 2
So,
choices.
thank you, Susan. All right, so, are you guys ready on a vote?
Yeah, I'm ready to vote. Yeah, close the hearing.
Well, I just want to make, yes.
To make a comment, Adam and I also noticed a few typos in this
So a couple
resolution.
things that need to be
Yeah,
corrected?
not really substantive, but
What, do you have a list of the things you've noticed, or?
not detailed. I mean, I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of that.
Just
Okay, but
minor-
nothing substantive.
Just typos, okay.
Okay. All right,
Want to close the hearing?
yeah, thank you, Susan. Motion to close, public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And then motion to accept the changes to Chapter 240, Section 240-8, entitled Sewer and Septic Systems.
I make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm
Opposed?
gonna vote, I'm gonna oppose based on the concerns that I've raised and the fact that I'm not really sure about these numbers.
Okay. All right, and then we'll have.
But I do understand that we need to make it fair and everybody should be charged through water consumption.
Well, the beautiful thing is you'll get an opportunity over the next week or two, because I think we'll try to look at the rates in June, so you could go through some of the number crunching with
Just
Dan.
concerned that this is going to be negatively impact more people than we think.
Okay. All right, so, decision to approve the Adirona Storm Water Management and Erosion Sediment Control Permit, FSW PPP 04925 Perry Street, Tax ID Section 06.17, Block 1, Lot 57. Now, this is the, Dan, the lot with the, on the hill, and there was concern from the neighbor below it.
Yeah, it was really more of a housekeeping thing. The board pretty much signed off on it, but we're just adding conditions.
Okay, so we'll be adding these conditions to it. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Great. That's that. Now we have discussion. Request for zoning text amendment, indoor amusement and recreational use property at 600 Lee Boulevard, Yorktown Heights, New York, the former Sears at the Jefferson Valley Mall. Do I have,
I just want to make a comment that I didn't know about this until I saw it on the agenda, like mid-afternoon. I have absolutely no idea what it's
well,
all
that's,
about.
that's why it's a discussion.
But I would like to have some information to read and to study
Chopsy,
before
would you
I
like-
have so I know what to discuss.
Well, it's regarding adding in, so in the mall, right now, we do not have indoor amusement and recreation use as a approved usage in the zone, so it's a petition to get that in, similar to like what we had to do with the brewery on Front Street, to get that included into the zoning. Chopsy, you want to address, and you could talk about what's been happening there?
Hi, everybody. This is, I'm new to this, so
Introduce yourself.
I'm Shapsi Levy. I'm part of the ownership.
Down a little bit so we can hear you,
I'm,
my friend. Thank you.
I'm Shapsi Levy. I'm part of the ownership of the former Sears at Jefferson Valley Mall. So we own only the parcel that Sears was operating. I think it's about 30% of the mall. We bought this a couple of years ago, and this has been a difficult challenge to fill up. As we know, it's been empty. Besides the 24-hour fitness occupies 38,000 square feet of the 155,000 square feet of that area.
I'm sorry. Robin, why didn't you come up to a bit by, I didn't realize you were back there, I'm sorry. Oh, you could continue.
So 38,000 square feet is occupied by 24 on the lower level, and we have up to 155 that needs to be filled up. Now, since the mall is not doing very well, it's a hard fill, and I look at it as a technicality. We have malls all over the country that have entertainment in there, especially as malls are evolving. People come out to these malls and centers for entertainment. Currently, the mall has many smaller stores that do exactly that, but we're a bigger concept, so it became a discussion. So currently, recreation and amusement is not in there. We have a tenant that's willing to open a 67,000 square foot center to do recreation for kids, and they're willing to invest a lot of money. We have a lease signed, and now we're up to the technicality that the recreation and amusement center is not in the zoning.
Robin, anything to add?
No, just that, obviously the mall is evolving. We have these new uses and they're not actually listed in the code, and
Chops, you
it's
could stay up front.
better for the town, obviously, if the uses then we're allowing in the mall are explicitly listed in the uses for the mall. Since it's a separate district, it has a separate list and it's much shorter than our other commercial zones.
So Chopsy, if you don't mind, can you tell me a little bit about the indoor amusement and recreation? Like, what's that going to paint me a picture?
That's-
Because this is exciting to me right now. Okay,
Yes.
so I'm
So
I'm
we're
smiling. All right,
It's
Let's-
actually very exciting because we're at the point where we might have the entire 155,000 square feet filled up, and that's going to bring a lot of traffic to that side of the mall and allow more tenants to want to come to the mall. The 67,000 square foot is going to be, I believe the closest, I don't know if anyone is familiar with Urban Air. It's a similar concept, but without many trampolines, because trampolines have a technicality that it needs a higher ceiling. So kids are going to be able to do all different laser tag, maybe golf simulators, all different adventures, ninja stuff, and probably virtual reality games. And we have the concept to the building inspector, so we can see a lot more detail, and we can provide that as well. So that's exciting.
Any movie theater or something like that in the works there?
No, I think they have some bowling.
Call me old.
Yeah, we have I think some bowling. The other
Bowling?
part is on the downstairs. So this is above the gym. There's really no use for that space because there's no loading dock. So retail would be very hard over there. Currently, the main use is retail, and the gym is basically anchored there, and they're doing very well. So they're not moving. So the space for entertainment would be a beautiful use. And we have a tenant that we're talking to for golf simulation for next to the gym. That's going to be around 7-8, which coincidentally also falls into recreation.
Which will be on the first floor.
First floor next to the gym.
Because Ed told me, he said there's still some space there. I
Yes.
didn't think about that. The Sears first floor Sears. I thought the gym had the whole first floor, but they don't. They probably
don't-
have half of the first.
They have
floor.
exactly half. There's around 38,000 that's empty. And we're talking to prospective tenants. It's probably going to end up being in the entertainment and the recreation, which is great because that's what the new age is looking for to come out to a mall. That's what they want to see.
Food and stuff like
Yes.
that and all that stuff.
Well, I'm not sure they're going to be selling food at this point. I think it's a little more technical for the 67,000. I believe the Gulf will be selling some snacks. But we're going to talk to the tenant maybe to add. They want to take another section where the service center was, the tire service center, and they want to open an additional small center over there to do food.
I got to tell you, you got the parking there and everything. I mean, you know,
Yes.
that'll be determined by our prestigious planning board. But
It's actually one of the things we already looked at through planning.
My main issue here is, and I would defer to our town attorney, how you're going to define indoor amusement and recreation use. I mean, obviously, it could be, if once we open the door and we don't have it specifically spelled out in terms of, you can define indoor amusement as a lot of things.
Yeah.
And
Amusement center is defined.
Lonnie, get your mind out of
I
it.
would like to. I would
So,
like to.
Lonnie, Robin's
Amusement
answering.
center is defined in the front of the zoning code. Maybe we might want to update it. We could look at the definition. Indoor recreation isn't defined. I mean, I think it's recreation inside. If you want to be a little more specific, we could add that.
That's just
also.
my suggestion.
Well, Robin,
that we-
if I'm not mistaken, we need a public hearing anyway, correct? So,
Well,
So,
let
Robin,
me ask
do you
you,
have-
I'm trying to think the last time I was at the mall, and I walked through it quickly. Aren't there some recreation uses already there?
Yeah, smaller ones.
So what's the difference between what's already there and why do we need a code for this other than the larger use?
the larger use, the ones that are there were done, the mall was doing a lot of temporary leasing. Chopsy's side of the mall, he wants to do permanent leasing, long-term structures, and that's, basically, I think the other ones fell through the cracks because they were all temporary leases. So now we're going to.
I'm not really sure they fell through the crack. I mean, the other uses what are they? They got video games there and stuff. I mean, I don't think that's.
They're-
They had those rides that people were riding around in the mall
Yeah.
on the
yeah,
like
that's right.
motorized.
The little train.
Yeah.
But there are other stores that look like
Well, it was,
game stuff. I mean, I don't have
Yeah.
kids around anymore, so I don't go into them, but they look like the indoor recreation. So that's my question is, and you may answer that they're on temporary leases as to what you're looking at more permanent, because otherwise we are allowing this.
Well, this is a good opportunity to clean it all
Yeah,
up.
well,
Yeah.
all right.
Probably.
I think
Robin, do you
so.
have any lists of potential uses that need to be included?
in the mall.
Just
Beyond this?
Yes, yeah. So if we're gonna take this task on, let's do the from A to Z and not just worry about this one task. So do you have any other things that need to be described in the?
Not that I know of. I could talk to John Landy. I mean, first it was amusement center, and I kind of said, let's just do indoor recreation too, because it would kind of cover
Yeah.
everything that's happening with the sports and things that are in there.
It'll probably be an issue with regard to the owners of the facility, but what's raised, someone suggested security in terms of if you're going to have kids, just like when you go to what is it, Chuck E. Cheese, where they have very strong security when you bring the kids over there and you drop them off or whatever. But that liability will be up to the mall and to, but I don't know if it's something that can be written in the law. I don't know if
Well,
you're going to have it.
So, Robin, you're suggesting that we go in and we look at our code for indoor amusement and recreation, and we figure out what uses, because for some reason I struggle to understand why the mall, that district where the mall sits, didn't have more recreational uses, because typically years ago a mall had so many things. They had Nathan's, they had video games, they had all this other stuff, So I mean, I'm excited about this. I'm really excited. This is a long time coming, and I think this will go a long way to possibly revitalizing the rest of the mall.
Well, the bigger malls, for example, Palisades had the carousels and
Race car stuff,
yeah.
because that's where it's all going.
But maybe we can find out what kind of language
Robin, we
It is,
just recently had the language that we inserted into the light industrial for brewery. I wonder if that's something that we should look at the mall. I don't know if that's included in the food service, but, you know, we might,
Okay, because it's just restaurants right now. it
yeah,
says.
so we might want to look at that brew pub type thing.
Any issue about hours of operation that come to mind? I don't know.
That's,
Just a standard wall
yeah.
This has a separate entrance to the exterior, so they don't need to access the mall in order to access the facility.
Oh.
I think that's up to the business, though. We don't really, unless, you know, they're throwing wild parties with that indoor entertainment that Lonnie's thinking about.
Chopsy, it's
Now
a,
you get your mind, now you guys get your mind out of the gutter.
Especially from Lonnie, out of everybody up here.
right, so the owner that tenant he's talking to is for the younger age kids, not teens.
Yeah, we know.
And it has a lot of party rooms, so it's more for the younger age than, you know,
Yeah.
older kids.
Or weekends and when school's out type stuff. All right. So can we, do we have a date we could throw a public hearing?
You've got to
Well,
put a
could we
lawn
prepare
and
some
everything else
legis-
together.
Huh?
You got to refer it out. You have a long ways to go.
Oh.
I'd like to see some draft
yes,
legislation,
yes.
some of the definitions for
Right, we
indoor
don't-
recreation.
Well, it's
I
just a
haven't
change
looked at
to the-
what amusement center is. This is all very new.
All right.
So let's,
Well,
If I may ask,
Definitely refer it
the
out.
tenant is getting just a little anxious. We're holding their hands. It wasn't easy to find the right people to invest millions of dollars in a project like this. We are holding their hands, and they're pretty sure it's going to be because when we signed the lease, we looked at the mall, and we understood that this can be approved under accessory use. So after we signed the lease, this came up as a hiccup. So I'm just asking whatever we can do so we can make sure they don't disappear because they have the ability to exit the lease at some point.
so we'll get our attorney on completing a law this week, get it on the books. It has to sit on our desk for 7 days. Robin, if you could talk to him about the usage that we want to include into it, then we could probably, at the first meeting in June, I think that gives us enough time to, providing we get it by the end of the week, to refer out and maybe set a public hearing, so we could get it moving.
Thank you.
No problem, Chopsy.
you've got our interest and our support. We just have to work out some details.
I want to point out the mall is ripe for something beautiful to happen. We are in talks with the mall owner to potentially take that part as well. We know there's a lot of interest from big tenants such as Costco, Wegmans to do something beautiful on the other side. So something is going to happen.
Don't lay all your cards on the table, Chopsy.
Something's going to happen sooner or later, hopefully.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
You had me at hello.
Especially,
Thank
you had me at indoor entertainment.
Oh, my God. All right.
All right.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet you.
You guys
Chelsea.
have taken it to a different level. I'm sorry.
Not us, Lonnie.
And you're shocked?
All right, guys, I want to make it home for Gutfeld. So, resolutions from the comptroller. Authorize the comptroller to process the following budget transfer for extraordinary legal services
I
to
would like-
Bleakley Platt Schmidt LLP. I'm not going to separate it, Susan.
No,
You can
no,
vote-
I just want to
You
make a comment there that some of this money that the town is involved with multiple lawsuits, and a lot of this extra stuff is for the lawsuits.
Which is extraordinary legal services, yes. From the engineering department, release the erosion control bond to John Horowitz for work completed at 618 Viewland Drive in the amount of $500. Authorize the supervisor to sign an amended agreement with New York State DEC for the pump station rehabilitation grant.
And I just want to say, this is the $5.8 million grant that we were awarded in 2021 that hasn't been spent yet, and we were within days of having it expire. The engineer was, this is a very last-minute extension that we finally got. We have 2 years. We've got to get cracking and get it done. We have 5 pump stations. So far, the plans have only been prepared for 1 of the 5. It's sitting in the Department of Health. We have 4 more pump station plans that have to go through this process. They have to be approved by Department of Health. Bid specs have to be developed, bidding, all of that rigmarole, and then it has to be constructed, and we have 2 years. We've got to get cracking, otherwise we're going to lose $5.8 million, 80% of the cost. We don't even-
Our problem is finding the 20%, which is what we just had a nice
Susan,
presentation on sewer income.
Let's get through the resolutions. That's why the old new business is on the agenda.
Well, I just
right?
want to
All right,
explain
so
what the
maybe we get to
resolution is
move.
about.
And that's why we have the talk we had, because we need to make sure that when we talk about revenue for the town, revenue gets pumped right out into R&M and different things. It's not like the town is giving money to shareholders. The revenue is actually paying for the expenses, and that's how the municipal budgets run. Authorize, that's good. Authorize change order number 1. This is from the John C. Hart Memorial Library for additional wood siding replacement on the front of the library building in the amount of $12,600, which does not exceed the approved dollar amount from the New York State Construction Grant total, for grant number 0386-25-1238. From the Northern Westchester Joint Waterworks, authorize comptroller to refund an overpayment to water account number 209131 in the amount of $722.77. From the Office of the Town Clerk, authorize the Town Clerk to advertise bids for the John C. Hart Memorial Library and the Albert A. Capolini Community and Cultural Center sign replacement.
Are those the awnings or are they
No,
actual
these are
signs?
actually for, and I don't know why it says sign replacement, except that there's an old regular sign out out in front of each. These are for digital signs being paid for by Crest Grants. Yep. Authorize voluntary contributions to be collected and dispersed in connection with dog licensing as directed by New York State Agricultural Markets Law 109. And this is if someone donates money when they're doing their dog license, by law we are supposed to hand it over to an animal agency, and we use South Salem Animal Hospital for providing our services, and the money goes to them. Correct, Madam Clerk?
That is correct. It has to go to the shelter that the municipality is contracted with.
Okay, from the Parks and Recreation Superintendent, authorized bid to be advertised for the volleyball court and basketball court fencing. Excuse me, at the Tom Diana Park at Granite Knolls Sports Complex. Authorized change order number 1 for additional work needed to the pool deck refurbishment project on the Brian J. Slavin Aquatic Facility in the amount of $14,000, and this is regarding last week's agenda, item on the structural engineer. So they moved very quickly to get that done. And from the receiver of taxes, authorize the comptroller to process the following duplicate tax payment refunds as enumerated below. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Before Susan goes, does anyone have old or new business?
I gotta go, excuse myself a second. I'll be right back.
Okay, under old business, I told you I wanted to give you a recap of the $3.7 million we got from the federal government called the ARPA, or the COVID money. Roughly $1.7 million went for water projects, the cement lining, water meters, a major piece of equipment that they purchased. Sewers, $256,000. Again, that there was some equipment there and a repair. Highway got a major piece of equipment for $500,000, and there was $250 for drainage for a total of $939,000. Parks, they only got one project was funded, and that was the LED lights at the Downing Field. That was $168,000. The library was one of the. There were 2 very new projects: the LED at the lighting at Downing, and the study corrals at the library. That was $150,000. There were a variety of upgrades, new telephone system for the town, some cyber security issues, and other purchasing of new computers for $310,000, and then kind of miscellaneous $116,000 for $3.7. Some of that money in the water department that was used for water was already in the operating budget, and it was just a transfer of funds, so it didn't have to be used from the water districts. So if anyone wants a breakdown, they can contact me and I can give them a chart. Also, under old business, we had a discussion about guidelines for the 485B committee. Are we adopting any, or what are we doing with that?
I'm gonna try to bring it in June's work session. I just haven't had a chance to compile.
Okay.
I wasn't feeling well for a couple of days, so.
And under new business, talking about infrastructure, Howard, I'd like to know what we're doing for the upgrades in the Hunter Brook system. The TV inspection work was done, so we have very good, can't say good photos, because I don't know if anybody's ever looked inside a sewer line and see what it looks like.
Pretty crappy.
But we have photos, so they were able to identify the areas that need work, and we now need a plan as to what to do. This all comes from a 2019 consent order with the DEC because of problems with the system, all right?
So there were already a couple of major leaks fixed that were coming into the system. There was some other testing done, and it's leading to smoke testing that needs to happen, and I've been trying to get this taken care of. A lot of it, I think, goes back to the field home, the old Holy Comforter building. So we're going to be performing smoke testing there. Dan's getting that worked out.
The smoke testing will just say whether there's a problem from the building leading into the sewer,
sanitary.
into the system. But the TV camera work will show fundamental structural issues with the lines.
They found a couple things,
and
but
we need a
nothing
plan
huge.
for that. So I don't think
Nothing
smoke.
nothing huge. No, we're trying to figure out the water, and if there's a issue where we look at the water and you don't see anything in the pipes or nothing big, the issue then is where is that water coming from?
Infiltration.
Right. So the most common thing is back in the day, some people, and we actually just dealt with this at another site that we took care of, some people tie their storm drains into sanitary sewer so they could avoid flooding on their property instead of going into the stormwater drains. And we find that to happen way too often. And when you do a smoke test, you put smoke into the sanitary, and if you see it coming out of someone's roof, that means that they are guilty of that. And we want to make sure that we get that corrected, because that's a ton of usage going through our sewers, and that is why we had the consent order.
Costs a lot of money.
Yes, it does.
Yes, we have to deal with the illegal connections, and the smoke testing can do that. But I still think there are fundamental upgrade issues that have to be done with the sewer mains, okay, with the sewer lateral lines, and we need a plan for that based on the TV inspection, and we're not doing that. And I'd love to see a report that says,
Well,
this
that's
is
what I'm
we
waiting on
found.
this too,
Okay,
before we could
because
set a plan.
the
need the
inspection
report.
was done quite some time ago, and I think
And I have
the
asked
report
Dan
is
to
due.
bring it up, so
So I'd like to
we'll
see
see
the
if he
report.
has it.
Thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
finished.
That's it?
You can adjourn and watch TV.
There you go.
Seriously? That's it?
You can,
I got 9
but
minutes.
tonight only. I'll give you more next week.
Come on.
Motion to adjourn.
Give you more.
Motion, second.
All in
Third.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I will say you will get nothing from her next week, because we do not have a meeting except the special on
But-
Thursday.
What do you got, Susan? What is going?
Good night,
The world
Yorktown.
is upside down.